Talking fishing.
Sorry, no, this has got to do with boating, and I disagree with this one. And so let's have a look. The BIA, which is the Boating Industry Association of Victoria, put out this media release. And the headline was, Boating Industry Rejects Andrews Government's Boating Bill in its current form. They say the Boating Industry Association of Victoria has rejected the state government's Marine Safety Act amendment in its current form, which is due for debate in Parliament this week. The BIAV has responded to overwhelming stakeholder alarm on the basis the bill does not fully deliver on the core aspect of the 2018 election. Have you heard the alarm going off? We've had, 400 people through the shop this week. Anyone mention it?
No, all I've heard is the phone ringing.
I'm calling BS on this, that there is a stakeholder alarm. I'm calling absolute BS. In the lead up to the November 2018 election, Premier Andrews stood before boating stakeholders and pledged that every cent of boaters' registration and licence fees will be returned to boaters to be spent on boating safety and facilities. This has been reaffirmed on numerous occasions by the Premier as well as consecutive ministers. And they still do, and they're still saying that's going to happen. There is no mechanism, they went on to say, no mechanism or wording in the actual amendment that guarantees the 31 mil fees collected from boaters will flow directly into the fund. It establishes a fund, however, with no guaranteed funding. This is not totally in line with a firm commitment made by the government, and stakeholders are incredibly angry. Well, we can't find one that's incredibly angry. That the correspondence of the cornerstone of the election commitment package has not been guaranteed. Now, I'll talk about the facts. Sorry, my next page.
Is that because it's not a statutory authority like the VFA?
No.
And it was some clause.
So, Trelly, I think what people would have loved is something set up the way the recreational fishing licence trust account is set up. In that it's absolutely hypothecated. So you buy a fishing licence. No one else is involved except the VFA, and it goes into a trust account.
Correct.
So what happens now with boat licence, boat rego, is it's collected by Vic Roads. There's number plates involved, there's registrations involved, there's licences involved through Vic Roads, and so it's way more complicated, and I can tell you, the government, both sides, do not do hypothecated funds anymore. They just don't. So here's the legislation, a couple of snippets out of it, and I won't take too much of your time on this one, but the Better Boating Fund pretty much says that all money that is appropriated by the Parliament for the purpose of the Better Boating Fund goes into it. And there's a couple of other points to that I haven't put up. But the key things here is that every year the Secretary to the Department of Transport must give the Minister a report for each financial year that says this: the total amount of money paid into the boating fund, the total amount of money paid out of the boating fund. So I say that's pretty transparent reporting. The total amount of fees received for registration, renewal and transfer of rego, and the granting, renewal and endorsement of marine licences. So they actually have to report how much money they collected from all that, match it with how much went into the fund, and then match it with what went out of the fund. I cannot understand. The BIA have got a bee in their bonnet that is absolutely wrong, because I'm telling you the punters aren't upset with it, and I just don't know. I mean, how the BIA can work with government going forward on boating. It's really disappointing.
The first report will tell.
Absolutely it will, and you've got to have a bit of trust in this government for 6 years, and don't confuse COVID with fishing and boating. Nearly $80 million has been pledged to fishing and boating, and it's absolutely fantastic what we're doing. So there you go. Anyway,
Talking fishing.